Hi, this is Bob Fulds here. I want to thank you for tuning in to another DUI musician project. As promised, those following on Wednesday that I would talk about a surface pickup or a pezzo surface pickup. And I wanted to show you kind of how I built mine from scratch for my homemade banjo. Now, those who've seen the homemade banjo video before, stay tuned, right? Because this is going to actually be how I use that as a pickup. Okay, so basically what I ended up doing, as you see here, is with the pezzo pickup, it has two wires that are sticking out of it. One is live, one is ground, right? Ground, you can think of the one that is inside the circle of the surface, and on the outside would be the live. Okay, super important not to mess up, because otherwise your pickup will not work. What are you going to need to get started? Well, you're going to need that. You're going to also need a audio jack. I have a mono jack. This is what you'd use with your guitars, for example. And then also what you're going to need is your regular soldering equipment, such as extra wire. As you see, as the wire's pretty short on it. Also a wire stripper. Finally, you're also, I guess not finally, but next you're going to need also some lead. And then the actual soldering iron itself. Okay, see that there. So after you do that, okay. Now, when I built the first actual surface pickup, it didn't come with the wires attached to it, so I had to solder that on additionally. They just didn't have that available, at the store. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is after you do that, right, is you're going to want to then solder the extension cable on, right, the two wires there. What I like to do is wrap them around and then solder on top of that. You want to make sure your soldering iron is pretty hot, because if it is not, well, no dice, it's not going to really melt very quickly, the lead. If you haven't already, please make sure to put on gloves, right, as you're dealing with lead, and you don't really want that going into your skin. Okay, so after you have done that, then you're going to attach on the mono jack, right? And as you attach on the mono jack, basically the ground is the one that is connected, long one connected to the center, right? So center, center, outside, outside, and the outside is the live. Usually on these pickups, right, or these audio jacks, they're kind of facing the opposite ways, right? So the ground, you'll see it connected to the center, is longer, and then the live is shorter on the outside, kind of like similar to the surface pickup itself. Okay, so got that done there, right? Now you're probably wondering, okay, what do I need to do? Well, I would let it sit and cool down. It cools down pretty quickly, but I'm always a little bit cautious, especially about touching hot metal, because that definitely can burn really bad on your hand. And then, yeah. What I did here is just basically screw it into the back, right? Drilled a hole through the side of the banjo, and then attached in with the washer after I put the audio jack through. The cables, what you're going to need to do if it's a surface pickup is be able to put the surface pickup, attaching it face down, right? So the metal part with no wires is going to be need to touch a surface. All right, now for the banjo, it made sense to attach it under the bridge, right between the bridge and where the strings are there, and attaching it directly on the surface. What does that do? It picks up the vibrations and the sounds that come through that. You could think of this as kind of like electrical engineering 101, but basically any kind of like waves that are going through, the pickup is actually going to be able to pick up, and that's going to transmit to your amplifier. Okay. So let's hear how it sounds without further ado. Okay, so now you hear the sound of the regular banjo. Great. Now let's try to turn it on here. Now you notice I'm kind of wiggling jack. It's probably not the world's greatest setup, but this was the first one that I put in. And you're wiggling it around. Okay, cool. And now you can hear the sound of that. Now we're going to turn on the overdrive. Here's some distortion. It's pretty cool, right? That's actually the sound and the style there that was used in my song Dueling Slides. I'll put a link below. But that's that solo instrument you're hearing there when it comes to the solo is actually the distorted and electrified homemade banjo. Now, what it's missing from that, though, is the homemade slide from Glass Bottleneck. That'll be for another video, definitely. But yeah, so in a nutshell, it's not super complicated process. You can also do this with electric guitar pickups. I have not done that yet, but it should be fairly easy, or if not easier. All right, cool. Thank you for tuning in. This is Bob Fulds, and I appreciate following along. Hit the subscribe button if you like these videos. It really helps, and hopefully you can get also the music videos out there and more people can enjoy them. Okay, cool. Appreciate it. Have a good one.